Well, good morning, everyone. Hello, how are you? Righto, Q&A time. Let's do this. Now, obviously, I haven't done it previously, and I'm sorry for that, but I ran out of energy, one might say. Ran out of a bit of steam. So, let's try and get all of this up. All right, then. Well, Q&A, first one in a couple of years, I think. So, questions. Chlas Spider. Hello, brother Chas, how are you? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Right, question. You mentioned you love playing Eldar. What's your favourite part about playing Eldar on the tabletop? I haven't played them myself, so I don't know how they work, but you seem to enjoy them. I do enjoy them very much. Now, obviously, I started off Warhammer in the very first stages in 1987. And I've always loved Eldar. I'm a huge elf fan from Lord of the Rings and Tolkien days. But what do I like about them on the board? Well, they're sleek, they're fast, you can use them in area outnumbering. I just like their beauty, their way of war, which is swift and lethal, which is always fun. But again, unfortunately, I don't have the skill to actually paint them up correctly, so I've always kind of dodged that. A lot of my army's white, but I am trying to get into the painting. But what is your favourite part about playing Eldar? The way they move. Their speed. It has to be their speed, which is again why I play Blood Angels, probably. Their speed. Love it. Okay, so I hope that helped. Okay, Lord Relic. Now, Lord Relic has been doing awesome awesome effort, helping us on the Discord channels. And not Discord, I do apologise, I've not had enough coffee. On the, what's it called, that horrible place where everyone's mean? Oh, come on, boulders. Come on, find the word. Come on. It's called Reddit. Now, Lord Relic has been awesome on Reddit, has been forwarding lots of our stuff around, so thank you very much, Lord Relic. You got you. Okay, which guard regiment is your favourite, if you have a favourite? Now, I don't play Guard anymore. I played Guard when it first came out as well. I played quite a few armies when it first came out. I don't know how I afforded it. Paper rounds are running about and doing jobs. Okay, now, obviously, I like the Praetorians, because they're helmet-wearing Englishmen, basically. So if I had to say any was my favourite at the moment, it is, or more consistently, it is the Praetorians, but I've got to admit, as with all of my videos, I do a load of research, as we know, and I really get into their heads, I very much hope, and relay their core. So, unfortunately, it does change. Now, the last one I did was Vostroyans. I really like them. But the Iron Guard, the Valhallans, they're bloody good as well. So, it does change, I'm afraid. All right. Sorry, it's not more in-depth, Lord Relic, but we will see in the future when I can try and get a Imperial Guard army together. But again, it shifts. Right, hooray and QA from Copperlock. Hello, Copperlock. Right, from a content creation perspective, which aspect of the process, writing, editing, finding visuals, finding music, is your favourite part? And which is your least favourite or most tedious part? From a game and lore perspective, which faction do you enjoy making videos for the most? Okay, question 1. Which aspect of the process is my favourite? I would say probably the reading out itself. I do enjoy, if it's one of my favourite characters, etc., I really do enjoy getting into it. So I'd say the writing and the reading out, the actual creation bit. My least favourite part is finding the visuals and editing. Editing because hearing your own voice is weird, but also because when you've written it, you've recorded it, you're editing it, you've heard it so many times already, you've written it so many times already, sometimes you think you hear what you've written. As we've all heard recently from the Iron Hands video, I still read Iron Hands and say Iron Warriors. Now, I was so careful in that one. I thought I'd checked it. Obviously, I sent it over to the Horus Heresy lads, and they said they checked it as well. And yet, still, I am told that I said Warriors instead of Hands. So, The editing part is a nightmare, and now the idea is for myself and Gremlin Girl to swap editing soon, so that should help. But again, it's been a bit complicated with Gremlin Girl. She's been a bit busy with other real life stuff, so I'm hoping she'll be able to help out more soon. But it's the bloody editing. The other second part is finding the art. I find it so depressing how little art there is. And people say, there are millions of video pictures. I've said it 1,000 times. There are, but on any one subject, there are very few pieces of art unless they're ultramarines. I'm sorry, but it's true. Go pick anything. Go an obscure faction and see how many pictures you can get. You may be able to get more than me. But if you've only got a limited amount of time, you're only going through Google, etc., and WhatsApp and all the rest of it. Not WhatsApp, but you know, the other things like, well, the picture ones, then you can only find so many, and that's galling. When I've written a story and I can't find the pictures, it gets annoying. So that's it. From a game and lore perspective, which faction do you enjoy making videos for the most? They're all different flavours, you see. Obviously, I like to push the heroic element with the Space Marines, even though they're not really that, you know, they're certainly not the good guys. Again, it's down to mood. I would say some of my most favourite ones are obviously the characters we've built up, like Cronin, Thaddeus and Tarquinius, etc. I love doing those. Which faction do you most enjoy? I think probably Imperial Guard, if I'm honest. But again, that's only today. Again, I know I sound very flibbity-gibbet, but again, I'm a man of many passions. All right, Michael Grant. Okay, hello, Michael. Brother Grant. Here's 5. The obvious ones you knew we'd ask. Favourite, least favourite factions and why? Favourite Eldar. I think I've answered that already. No, I'll go through it. Favourite is Eldar. Because I'm a massive elf fan. It's the misery of it all. The dying light. It's very Tolkien, which really works. So for me, least favourite faction and why? Probably only if we're talking about doing videos, then least favourite would be Adeptus Mechanicus, because for the life of me I find it very difficult to do sound effects things unless I'm downloading them from a site or something. So modulations in voices, etc., because I just can't learn everything, is very difficult. So I'm going to say Adeptus Mechanicus, not because of the faction, but because of how the noises should be and how difficult that will be for me to produce, which I'm still bloody working on. Sorry about that. Okay, so that's 1. Everyone's Michael. Okay, now number 2. What got you started in Warhammer miniature wargaming? My dad introduced us to Warhammer. Into Dungeons and Dragons. We started getting figures for that when I was very young. And then after that, it just kind of went from there. And when we saw Warhammer, myself and many of my brothers, I got a plethora of them. And we started playing that. And then, of course, Warhammer 40 came out. And that big blue box of Marines was there. More of a square than anything else, 30 Marines in it, and the rest, as they say, is history. What 5 books should I read? I am never good with this. I would say the Omnibus first, possibly for Space Marines, because it's lovely. Again, it depends on what you're doing. Obviously, if you're doing Orcs, then, you know, I Am Slaughter. If you're doing elves, then, you know, what the Craft World, the Way books are great. But of course, anyone realistically really wants to get into Warhammer, might as well start at the start. Go for the Horus Heresy. Not every book is brilliant. I haven't read them all. We know that. I'm a slow reader and I've got lots going on. Mainly writing. So, I don't know, you're supposed to consume massively if you're writing, and that's true, but they forget that I'm also a YouTuber, so I've got all of that to deal with as well. Is it a complaint? No. It's just there's only so much time in the world, in anyone's life. So unfortunately I do the best I possibly can, but I'm quite a slow reader. But again, so far I've really enjoyed most of the Horus Heresy in one way or another. And even books I don't particularly like, say, get on with the prose of the writer. There's always a kernel of knowledge in it, which is brilliant. Okay. Next question. Don't know how to do it, but Voldemort fan club meeting. Where's everyone at? Or again, I hate the word fan. I'm squeamish about it because I'm just a fan of Warhammer 2. We're all just Warhammer fans. And I don't think... Well, you know me, I'm very silly about this. So, I don't think there's anything to be a fan. I'm the fan of the videos, yes, but I don't like it called it Voldemort fan. I'm waffling like a madman. I like, be a fan of the videos, not of the person. I'm really not worthy of being fanned in any way, shape or form. I'm you, you're me, we're just doing this. You're doing other things with your life and I'm doing this, so you can relax. But again, we're no different. I'm not a superstar like Major Killer or any of the other guys who go online endlessly and talk to everyone. I get very tired and confused by that situation. So I'm certainly not a walking encyclopedia like, say, Remley's or 40k or Lutin might be. I have to work quite hard on things because my memory is fuzzy. And obviously so many different editions, etc. I get confused. So I have to be very careful on that. So, but I think the Discord guys are meeting at Adepticon. I'm not travelling there this year because of a myriad of reasons. And again, I don't travel. But if I do travel, then I'm hoping that if things go well, then maybe next year I might be able to go to Adepticon and meet some people. But again, if people expect there, to be a huge cape and me coming out and going, ha ha, I'm so cool. No, just no. It would be like meeting, I don't know, your uncle for a pint. That's about it, really. That strange guy who knows stuff about stuff, but it's a bit strange, harmless but strange. That kind of thing. So there we go. So contact Bodden, Lord Commander Bodden, on the Discord for any kind of meetings, and because I presume the majority of people who are on the Baltimore's Guides Patreon are generally American, because that's where the majority of our listenership, gentle listeners come from. But when it really comes down to it, I don't know. The world's a big place. It's kind of scary for a bully. Well, not scary. Scary's not the right word, but intimidating to think that people like the Space Wolf video, statistically, someone at some time anywhere in the world is listening to the Space Wolves video. I find that amazingly gratifying, but also amazingly strange. So I'm just not used to any of this, really. I've always been a rather humble fellow, apart from one period in my 20s when I became a bit of an arsehat. Okay, too many people told me I was great, and that was bad for my mental state. Now, so sorry about that. What is the meaning of life? Whatever you want it to be, and of course 42. But the meaning of life is having something that you do, that you love, and it doesn't have to be a job. It can be anything, a hobby or anything else. Something that makes your heart glow. Do that and you're fine. As I'm only just recently finding out, because I love doing this, and my life has never been better. I'm not suggesting do this, because it's heartbreaking if you don't get anywhere. Waffle. Right. Brother Dakota Sargent. Hello, Brother Sargent. He's been with us for a long time. Hello. Now, from a lore perspective, which Space Marine chapter is your favourite and why? Blood Angels. Again, it's very similar to the Eldar reason, the heroic last stand kind of feel to them. The battling against the ages. I suppose they are very, very similar in that way. The Eldar and the Blood Angels both hanging on by their fingertips. By courage alone. And that's what I respect them for. And also, it's red, isn't it? Red goes faster. So, the Blood Angels and the Death Company, etc., they're just amazingly blinged up Marines. I love them. But from a lore perspective, I suppose it should be one of the others. But at the moment, the thing that makes Sanguinius so great is the fact that we don't actually know that much about him. And we don't have that many conversations with him in. So there's not much chance for him to actually annoy people. So less is more sometimes. And that's how it is with Sanguinius. But again, I used to, in the 90s and early 90s, late 80s, have a Space Wolf army before they were even properly Space Wolf named. And legions and all of the rest of it. So Leman Russ would be another favourite of mine. Okay, so Ghosts. Gaunt's Ghost Guy. Aloha. So, we all know that one pivotal moment aboard the Vengeful Spirit that encapsulates much of the 40k mythos. My question for you would be, what are 4 other moments that have defined 40k for you? 4 moments. Istvan, obviously that's a defining moment of the entire engagement, the entire situation. That's one. Oh, this is tough. 4 moments that have defined 40k. Well, obviously, drums. Cool. That's really tough. Defined 40k. I mean, defined the setting, defined what's going on now. I'd say, well, okay, what's going on now in the general plotline. Let's go with, obviously, the Rising Storm. That brought back Guilliman, the 13th Black Crusade, and, of course, the Ynnari. So that's a massive event. That could almost be 3 unto itself, but the Rising Storm is 1. The Istvan is 2. Death of Hope. Oh, no, not Death of Hope. What am I talking about? Titan Death. That's where a vast majority of the Titans were slaughtered. And that massively, massively affected the rest of the entire Imperium. Justified why there aren't so many knights about. So that's 3. I think I might have to come back to that. Bloody hell, that's a really good question. Oh. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to have to come back to that. Gaunt's Ghost Guy. Thank you very much for the wonderful questions, but I've been stumped at 3. Obviously, I haven't had enough coffee. Now, next question. Ross Cranham. Sorry about that. If you're into tabletop role-playing games, and if so, which ones were your favourite and why? If not TTRPGs, then the same for computer RPGs. Now, obviously I was, when I had a lot more time and I was a bit more sociable, I had a lot of role-playing experiences. I role-played since the age of, X, with Dungeons & Dragons. My dad introduced me to it. Then after that, we went to things like Traveller, Goblins and Ghosts as well, Tunnels and Trolls. Not Goblins and Ghosts, Tunnels and Trolls. That was slightly before. We tried out different systems, but my favourite is probably Marvel Superheroes role-playing game. It's got a very simple chart. You've got, say, your stat on one side, you've got your roll on the other, and you compare it on this chart, and you get either a white, a miss, a green, a hit, nothing special, a yellow, a bullseye, and a red, which is a critical, if you will. And it was very, very simple, and that's what I liked about it, because although it had simplicity, it had great depth. You could do a lot with it. They had an entire booklet called the Ultimate Powers book, and honestly, I have spent months of my life just reading through it, making up characters, because I ran a role-playing game. Superheroes, obviously, in America, very, Marvel, not DC, sorry, I'm lying there, I don't like DC, Marvel style gaming, and we played for about 10 years. We had multiple teams all over the Northern America, Denver, Dallas, all of these different places. Really enjoyed it. If we got tired of the characters after, say, a year or two of playing them, then we moved to another city and opened up another franchise. Just absolutely fantastic. Now, some of the newer games I found a bit more like clicks. So like I love Dungeons & Dragons 1st and 2nd edition mainly. Really, really played that to death, along with basic Dungeons & Dragons before that. But what actually happened there was, I loved 2nd edition. Then along came 3rd and then 3.5, and everyone was standing in areas and moving so many squares and giving each other buffs and stuff, and I was like, oh god, this is more like Hero Clicks, which obviously I used to play. So I got out of that. Again, I've done other role-playing. I've done very, very silly games. I invented my own one at one point, Avatar. No, nothing to do with airbenders or to do with sons and daughters of gods. So yes, I've done a lot of role-playing games and really, really enjoyed them. So there we go. Do I do them at the moment? No, I don't have the time, unfortunately. I do this. Okay, so I hope Mr. Brother Ross Cranham, that is enough. Thank you very much. Any TTRPGs, then the same for computer RPGs. Obviously, loved SWTOR. Never finished any of the character lines. Don't know why. Loved, say, Skyrim, and obviously City of Heroes and other strange games. I haven't done a great deal of gaming since opening up the channel, unfortunately, because being not particularly young, a lot of the stuff that other people go, I could do this with a flick of my wrist, takes me pushing my face through the screen. So, yeah. Don't have a great deal of time for gaming at the moment, hoping one day to improve so that I can actually have a life as well. So now, Kelly L. McMahon, I'm so sorry. Again, I think I need more coffee, so I am deeply sorry if I mispronounced your name, Brother Kelly. Now, I have a couple of questions. As a long-time Dark Angels player, I am sitting with guarded hopes that the DA Primarch will return very soon. Question 1. Now, given that he and Guilliman have had knockdown, drag-out issues before, what do you foresee as the outcome of Guilliman trying to flex on Johnson will be? I don't know if Guilliman's actually going to flex on Johnson. I think he's just going to be so bloody happy that one of his brothers is back to share the burden that he'll almost accept any tirade coming from them and then go, and I was on with Jack Jones, and I need your help, and if you think I'm doing badly, help me out, you bastard. So I think it's... I'll get onto the rest later. I think there's going to be a huge civil war eventually, because the battle of brother on brother is the most interesting and the most compelling in a lot of ways. That's why the Horus Heresy works so well. I'm thinking that in the next 10 years, when they finish the Siege of Terra, etc., maybe the Scouring, they might go and do one in the 41st or 42nd, depending on your opinion, millennium. So I think the Dark Angels, the Lion will return, and I think there's going to be problems eventually. Initially, I don't know. It'll all depend on the way they want to write it. Now, number 2. Sorry about the snorting. A bit of a cold still. Recovering from COVID, whatever you want to call it. Okay, number 2. With Dawn being back now, do you think that With Dawn being back now, do you think that the old sibling rivalry will rear up if Reboot tries to force the Black Templars to finally adhere to the Codex Astartes? Well, he hasn't. I get the feeling he pretty much knows that the Black Templars are all over the shop, and he's not going to force the issue. He hasn't so far, and there's no other Primarchs about. So if he wasn't going to do it then, he's not going to do it later on, is my opinion. And finally, a comment rather than a question. Do you have a fantasy writing style and your voice acting is... You have a fantasy writing style and your voice acting is out of this world. Well, the voice makes the writing sound better than it is. Sorry about that. A couple of messages from people. Deeply annoying. Now, you have, to be honest, you should add that as a side hustle if you aren't already. I know voice acting is a feast or famine prospect, hence my suggestion of side hustle. Now, the reason I don't do it is because I'm so busy with this, and I have found on the few times I've dealt with some people, they will expect War and Peace and a perfect delivery, but want to pay for basically, a jingle. So I say, here's £100. Now I want you to work 50 hours for me. And I'm like, no, just no. So people's expectations are very, very high. Do I do side hustles? Yes, I do. Do I do them with companies? Yes, I do. Do I have a huge amount of them? No, I do not. Is it something I'm looking at? Possibly. Realistically, there is only so much ball to go around, and I would rather do one thing well, or 2 or 3 things well, than 15 things utterly badly. And as I say, I just can't deal with the arguments. If you're dealing with a company and say, well, that's not within my contract purview, and if you wish to do that, then you have to extend. This is contract creep. If you're dealing with an individual, they just start swearing at you. Or can do. Many are lovely, but 1 or 2 I've tried to work with have just wanted the world and wanted to pay nothing and get deeply angry when they don't get it. So I don't do side hustles very often. I only do them with companies so that I know that at least they're going to be professional. Will I do it in the future? Well, if I get struck down or someone destroys me or I run out of steam or I can't do something, then yes, I will become a voice bitch. But at the moment, I'd rather be writing, GMing? Yeah. Writing, creating, dreaming bitch. So, there we go. Chris Locke, brother Chris Locke, hello. Did you... Oh, bloody phone. Piss off. Go away. Right. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, did you serve in the military? God loves the infantry. God does love the infantry. And no, I did not serve in the military for a plethora of reasons. There is no disrespect from myself to the military. They allow me to sleep at night, to be free. I have the greatest respect for family members I have who are in the military. I chose not to do that, and sometimes I kick myself. Sometimes I do not. Either way, I cannot regret everything I've ever done. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to move forward and do anything. So, no, I did not serve in the military. Many apologies for those who may think that I have. But what I tend to do is in situations where I know I'm writing something, I will try to ask an expert. Now, obviously, that's not always possible. And some of the things I write are complete twaddle. We know this. We absolutely know this. But it's just an attempt to relax you. It's just a story, just a tale. I don't do massive research on every single one of them. It's like if you slip the knife between the third and fourth vertebrae, what would happen? I just don't have the time, unfortunately. I'd love to be able to just do one thing perfectly, but I can't because YouTube is too much of a hard taskmaster. And to be honest, by reducing in videos, our general ad revenue has plummeted. So I have to always look at how much I can do, how much I want to do, and how much is possible. And it's not always possible. So there we go. Oh, rather a long answer to did you serve in the military? Sorry about that. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Locke. Now, next question, Lawrence Hildebrand. And hello, brother Hildebrand. Okay, I believe I first found you ages back on a Major Kill Co-op Space Hog stream. Oh, crumbs, I remember that one. That was a long time ago now, wasn't it? It's very clear you take great pleasure in what you're doing. I do, even that far back. As someone who sometimes struggles with this, what initially made you decide on creating a YouTube account? What brings out that true passion? What makes the cogitators cogitate, so to speak? Now, I did answer this in a previous Q&A. What initially made you decide on creating a YouTube channel? Well, all of the other channels out there were very heavy or very dry. Say 40k Theories and Remedies, wonderful stuff. Wonderful, peak lore. But realistically, it's very dense. Lurting could be very dense as well. Very dense, very dry. Obviously, a lot that were out there at that time were very either reading from, directly reading the lore out like I sometimes do in the quote section, or were incredibly dry. And a lot of people, when I was at the club and I said, go watch something on YouTube, they would say, this is incredibly dry. This is this very heavy, solid stuff. I mean, is there any starter channel? And I heard it so many times. I was in between work. I'd just been made requested redundancy from a job. And, when it came up and went with everyone else, and much to their surprise, and I'd done a couple of jobs I hated. I was looking around for something else and did this as a start. And then after that, when I got a couple of subscribers, I really enjoyed it. I thought, okay, let's go for it. And I sank my life's investments into keeping alive while we grew. Always knowing that at some point I'd have to yank the cord and say, okay, I'm going back to an office. And I nearly did. I was 2 days away from throwing in the towel. I think it was April 2020. No, just before April, something like March 2020, when all of a sudden we got something like 20,000 subscribers the next month. And the rest I could then eat, and then slowly we've become better and getting good at it. So, ish. So that's why I created it, for an opening channel, a starter channel, something a bit less heavy, something also so people could sleep to, relax to, put on in the background to while they're doing their stuff. And it just went from there, really. Obviously, I had other goals at the time, but they came more later on, really. Right, brother Rick Henrik Christensen. When initially made you create the channel? What brings out that true passion? I like to tell a good story. I always have liked to tell a good story. I've been GMing since the age of 10. Games mastering since the age of 10. And I've really enjoyed just getting off on people enjoying themselves. So that helped too. Eventually, when I got a little bit more confident. Started realistically in lore in September 2019, and then by the December of 2019 I started writing my own stories, and there we go, just as starters. And I think it was Rickard with Commissars. And then after that, it was The Silent King Part 1, which was the real groundswell change for me. I really enjoyed doing that, and I thought, okay, well, love him or hate him, let's see if we can be a bit different, and let's do this. And that's how that happened, okay? Right, Rick Henrik Christensen. Hello, brother. Rickard Henrik Christensen. My many apologies. Again, not enough coffee. When and how were you introduced to the grim future of Warhammer? 1987, when the game came out, I went up to, with my two older brothers, out of my many brothers, and we went up to, was it Hamleys? It wasn't Hamleys, it wasn't the Plaza. There was a shop. Oh, it was down Piccadilly. I can't remember the name of it now. That's really embarrassing. I'm going to have to look that up. But we went up there to find some fantasy figures, and there they were, the Space Marines. As I said earlier, the rest was history. Oh, the squats. 36 squats, or 36 guard in one box. My brother got orcs, of course. I can't even remember how many were in that box. It was plethora. Wonderful stuff. But a tenner wasn't a small amount of money then. A tenner was a tenner. It wasn't just a tenner. It was a tenner. So, yeah, the tenner got you quite a bit of kit. Right. Okay, Holy Diver. Hello, Holy Diver. Right. Is there a pivotal moment or story you could change, improve in the lore of 40k? What would it be? And how would you tackle such a feat, just in the briefest summary? Oh, poo. Ooh. Now, this kind of situation sometimes makes it look like I'm at odds with the writers. And obviously, they're writers, I'm not. I'm just a consumer. I don't know the process. I can imagine. I'm trying. But, what would I change? I don't like the speed of Fulgrim's fall. And I don't like the mirror cracked. The entire premise of it, I think they should have left him alone. Should have left him quietly behind, etc. I see why they did what they did, but I would change that. I would either make his turn more slow, get an entire book almost out of it. I see what they did. I didn't necessarily agree with it, but I would get rid of the mirror cracked, and keep Fulgrim, or have Fulgrim come back in a different way. Yeah, so there we go. Fulgrim. But again, I would say that I'm still trying to sluice Fulgrim out of my head, because I had him in there quite some time before doing the video. Now, I hope that helps. General Corrosive, brother. Favourite faction and why? Eldar, speed, beauty. Always been an elf fan since I cried myself to sleep once reading the Silmarillion. Wee chap that I was. Ooh, that sounds girly, but you know what I mean. Whatever. Soft side, blah, blah, blah. You'll have to apologise. Sorry, you have to excuse me for being a bit of an anachronism every now and again. Girly, I don't mean any offence to anyone in any way, shape or form. It's just an old way of putting things. I was being a wimp. Okay? There we go. An open-hearted little sausage. Now, Miklos Farkas. I hope I have pronounced that correctly, Brother Farkas. Now, I literally became your patron to aid you in getting new miniatures and see videos of you unboxing them with the joy we all grow up children would have. For me, it would be obvious to ask, how long we must wait for those unboxing videos? Trying to get to them now, brother. Put one out last week. Going to put one out next week as well, okay? I am doing I read this message, and I have bought up loads of new Eldar and other such things to open for you and to have a bit of a chat each week, okay? I can't promise, obviously, because anytime I promise anything, it goes up the swanny. It's like a curse. It's a death curse. Yes, I shall do this video, and it doesn't happen. So I'm not going to promise anything, but I will say that I am trying. So we got one box opening last week. Hopefully get one next week minimum, okay? As soon as the little people have brought their stuff to me. Wah! So, box openings I am going to try on a regular basis. As I say, try. Brother Farkas, thank you very much for your assistance with this great endeavour. Now, Brother R3VS. Favourite faction? Chaos faction. And why is it Alpha Legion? Yeah, I see. Most of the factions have something that really is. It's the hook. It's the sauce. It's the spice. It's the spring in the step. Most of them have something I can really get behind. And obviously I like to take some of the less popular factions and push them to the fore and say, look, this is why they're dangerous. I know the other ones are more aggressive and they're louder and they're more blood spatty, but these guys are really dangerous. Look at them. Ooh. So for me, at this present moment, it is Word Bearers. I have a particular fixation with my lovely Word Bearer character, and I try not to use him too often. But yes, we will be seeing him and all of the Chaos Boys arrive at Abundance Tertius in episode 5, I think. Something like that. But again, I'm working on them quite heavily. It's done in the background because I want them to be good, and I have no experience in writing apart from putting out what I do on the channel, so yeah, I'm always a bit paranoid about that. Only because I want to do well. I want to do well for you. I want you to be able to sink into a video like a hot bath, play Hippo in it and go, oh, that was relaxing at the end of it, yeah? So, there we go. Right. Brother Firelock, hello. You mentioned that you love having your HQs partake in narrative engagements during your chances to play 40k. I do. Which of your HQs has had the Emperor's luck, and which HQ has had the Lamentor's luck? Now, very simply, the Butcher of Bialtan is my avatar for my Eldar army. He has the Emperor's own luck. He has Slaaneish's own luck. There are very few times I miss with him. And there are very few times I do not kill with him. And there are very few times he dies, which is why I don't play Eldar very often at the present, because he is a butcher. And he does really well. My dice fly like mad, and I really love playing Eldar. But again, as I stated in a previous video, I think it was last week, I have to limit myself because I can be a bit of a douche canoe. Or there is the element of potential to become a douche canoe. So I limit it. And who has the Lamentor's luck? That would be any and all of my Dark Eldar. I once put down an army with over 40 Dark Light weapons in it. Think las cannons. And I did 4 damage in the entire battle with those weapons. They suck. As in, my luck with them sucks. I cannot play Dark Eldar, even though I have tried many, many times. I will try again. And again and again, because I adore the figures. I love the horror of them. I like really playing the bad guys when I can, and really playing the good guys when I can. So the extremes for me, a bit more dramatic, blah, blah, blah. But Dark Eldar, I can't roll for toffee. I don't think I've won more than one game with Dark Eldar, despite doing everything right. But when you're dropping down, say, 2 units of, they're called flying ones, Scourges, and you fire 8 las cannon equivalents into a tank, and it takes 2 damage or none, you realise that, yes, the Khormora and its sons do not like the bald. So there we go. And can you give a brief synopsis of one of those most memorable fights? I think I just have. Pitotep tore me a new a-hole, many, many a-holes, as I brought 3,000 worth of Dark Eldar and did 4 damage with my Dark Light weapons. All of my other weapons did, I think, a total of 22 damage in the entire game. It was a good day for the Thousand Suns. Brother Mark Morakuti again. Oh, sorry. Right. Brother Mark Morakuti. I'm sorry if I've got that wrong. Now, how come Chaos Marines are not extinct after 10,000 years? Do they recruit? I'm okay with them surviving for so long, warp shenanigans, time and space, but shouldn't every loss be permanent? Right. They do recruit. They recruit turned Space Marine chapters. They wipe out chapters and take their gene seed. They have their own gene seed stocks, and they try to build them up. Now, obviously, a lot of warp makes it completely useless, but they do get some back, and they do replace. A lot of the warriors who are of the Long War are certainly not 10,000 years old. No way. Now, they are in time, but they're not in experience. Some of them are much more than 10,000 years. Say one squad could go into the warp, and 2 of them could spend 20 million years there, 2 of them could spend 10 seconds there, and 1 of them could spend 2 weeks there in experience and then come out. It's a very, very strange situation. Buttoning down anything with the Chaos Marines is difficult, and as it should be. They are chaos. They are unpredictable. They are, again, chaos. So everything with them is chaotic. So do they recall? Yes, they do. And some of the things that are running around are absolute horrors, because each one of them 10,000 years old and has fought 10,000 battles in that 10,000 years. No. So it's always a mixed bag with the Chaos Marines. The Legion Marines are very old and very dangerous. The newer ones are just as dangerous to a certain extent. Man, bit of a heavy question, that one. I see what you mean, but yeah, they recruit. Yeah, they keep coming. Yeah, they die. Yeah, the old Legion Marines, if they go, that's permanent. So, yeah, they're fighting against time as well to a certain extent. Oh, second question from brother Marakuti. I'm a die-hard space wolf. Fair. But is there any argument to be made that they can go to battle without their helmet? The helmet thing is a cultural thing, more than anything else, is what I've heard many people say. I think it's more to do with modelling than it is to do with anything else. And sometimes you do want to see the faces of a hero or something else to mark them out. So it's a cultural thing. For the Space Marines, yes, they should always wear their helmets. Their helmet coming off is ridiculous. But sometimes their heightened senses, etc., are actually probably better than, in some situations, especially with Space Wars, than having the helmet on. So it also depends on the level of aggression and the level of accuracy and weaponry of the enemy. If they're only firing lance guns, yeah, they might kill you. Probably will kill a Space Marine if 3 or 4 hits in the head, maybe. But 1, not sure. Probably, maybe not, though. So again, it's more, again, the ethos of the game. It's more the ethos of the setting than it is any tactical decision. Because, yeah, we all know, it's ludicrous for them to wander around with their helmets off. So we all scrounge around for reasons for it to be explicable. There aren't really. Okay, sorry about the story, you get a bit cold. Right, so I hope that helped, even though it might have been an unsatisfying answer. That is the answer. There's a strange warrior thing going on with the Space Marines, whereas wandering around practically in the head nude is cool. Yeah, we'll never figure it out. Okay, now, Brother Harmless Rats. Hello, Brother Harmless Rats. My dude, one of the earliest. Now, what got you into 40k? We've been through that. And what other franchises settings do you enjoy? Dungeons & Dragons, obviously the Kryn books. I read them when I was younger. I love Dune. I love Asimov. I loved Star Wars. I deeply loved Star Wars. But the sequels killed it for me. And what they've done with it, for me, the Force was a subtle thing that anyone could manipulate realistically if they were willing to put in the effort. Yes, the Force users were strong and all of the rest of it. They had it, if you will. But I always felt to me that although that, the Skywalkers were awesomely powerful, there was all that inference to me when I was younger that anyone could do it if they wished hard enough, they worked hard enough, they were stable enough, and all of the rest of it. So then, of course, the prequels came out, and it was all the midichlorians. So I was like, okay, all right, fair enough. But still, I loved it. I loved Revenge of the Sith. People hated it. I think the story of Darth Vader is incredibly interesting, because I did quite a bit of theology and mythology, and the story of a Messiah gone bad is something you don't often see, and I can't really think of anywhere you've seen it. So, yeah, Star Wars. I love Star Trek as well, to a certain extent, but it's a bit wimpy, isn't it? It's lovely. It's a stroll on a sunny day compared to, watching a vampire flick, which is Warhammer 40k. They each have their place and their settings. That's why I like taking the piss out of them a little bit, because I do love them too. Or loved. One of those things. Things can change in franchises very quickly, and they can change back again. Have I watched The Mandalorian and other such things? No, I haven't even watched the last Star Wars film, and that, all of my friends would tell you, is a crying shame. I just couldn't do it. Okay, what other settings do you enjoy? Well, again, I think it was, Battlestar Galactica, awesome. Battle Beyond the Stars, wonderful. What was that other one with Wang in it? Anyway, I can't remember it, but that was fantastic too. And of course, Babylon 5. Babylon 5 is still incredible. I'm really hoping when they do a remake, they don't make it pants, because Babylon 5 for me was just groundbreaking stuff. It was fantastic. I still watch little videos on Babylon 5, etc., just for fun every now and again when I've been told I can't listen to a Warhammer video. So as a break, I will watch a Babylon 5 or a Star Trek video, or Star Wars even sometimes. Who doesn't love KOTOR? Wonderful. Knights of the Old Republic. Wonderful game. Ooh. Right, so that's some settings. There we go. Obviously, Marvel. Up to 2000 and about 4. I read majority of the X-Men, etc., Avengers and other such things, so I love that. I don't like some of the changes they've put through, but I'm not the demographic they're looking for, so it doesn't really matter. Each to their own. It's all good. Okay, Jared Cherney, Brother Cherney, what are some of your favourite moments in the lore? Obviously the vengeful spirit, the sorrow and horror of the Istvan drop site massacre. There's just so many. I'm hoping to go through a lot of them. I've been through some of them, and again, because I am a slow reader, and I hope it's not because I'm sick, it's the more I enjoy the words, if you will. And obviously try to absorb and think about what's going on in some of the situations and see beyond the page. And yes, I get told off for doing that on a regular basis, but let's be honest, if I didn't do that, then I'd just be a wiki reader to a certain extent. Or, well, I hate using that term because I actually read from codices. I buy all of them. And I do get annoyed with the wiki reader thing. I'm like, okay, yeah, fair enough. Every now and again I need to go to wiki because I don't know everything. No one does. But the vast majority of my readouts, my quote section, is from actual bought codices. So that can get a bit grating. But what the heck, who cares? At the end of the day, people either enjoy what you do or they don't. And it doesn't really matter why they don't. So there you go. But as we've seen, I've been trying to reduce the quotes, etc. on a regular basis now. I'm getting a little bit more confidence. Also, I thought that my style was very similar to Games Workshop's. So it seemed stupid to reinvent the wheel with some bits, whereas obviously some people are saying that my style is different and I should be just doing it that way. So that is what I've been trying to do. Give you quality, not quantity, despite how that may affect the old bank manager. Right. Okay. Deathwing Y2K. Hello, boss. What is the average flight speed of an unladen swallow? I mean, well, is that an African swallow or is that a European swallow? I mean, have they grabbed it by the husk? I think that answers it. Or, I don't know. Is the other answer. Good question. I like that one. Setseyan, brother. I'm sorry, I haven't got that right again. Meat coffee. What is your favourite Primarch and why is it Angron? Jokes aside, who's your favourite Primarch and Legion? Again, I'd say Sanguinius and the 9th, but it changes so often. Again, I will always love Sanguinius and the 9th because, again, something else. I am a massive Angel buff. From the Hakadesh, Chaos Hakadesh, the Aralim and the Ophanim, etc., etc. So the angel thing does great for me. I played Magic the Gathering and had a huge angel deck, and I seriously sliced off people's heads with it. Lovely. But I think the more I research anyone, the more I like them at that time, or at least get under their shoes. And Angron is a poor bugger. When I do an anger on video, it's going to be violins all the way, I'm afraid. It's poor sod. That's all I can say. I would love to see what he should have been. Now, Son of Dawn, do you believe we will see the return of more Royalist Primarchs? Yes. Can I hold out hope of seeing Rogal Dorn lead us anew? Yes. So one of the quotes that came back from the highest levels of Games Workshop, as far as I am aware, as with all things, it's as far as I'm aware, that dead Primarchs don't sell, which is very true. And I hate the fact that they've brought out one Primarch and they're not brought out more quickly. I have a very negative view of the entire Guilliman situation, because I think it is used to force arguments amongst fans to keep them engaged, and I find that reprehensible. So, but they've got Primarchs now, so the door's open. When the door's open, all of the cults must bolt. I'm terribly sorry. You've got one, you need them all now. So I expected each edition for there to be a new Primarch. That hasn't happened, obviously, but I think they're going to pick it up. But are we going to see Loyalist Primarchs? Yes, because again, when all of the Siege of Terra and other such things is ended, even the Scouring, if they're going to bother doing that, don't know. But then I think that they're going to try and do, Horus Heresy 2.0 and have the Loyalists arguing with each other as well. Because realistically, at the very end of the day, this is a game about combat. Every faction must need a reason to fight other factions. Having war games between each other as Loyalists is deeply tedious, and it kind of takes something away from it. So, are they going to be able to fight each other? I reckon they will. Is there going to be another war amongst the brothers? I think there has to be, to keep the juices flowing. Will I be alive to see it? Who knows? Right then. So, will you see Rogal? I reckon so. Otherwise, they wouldn't have changed him from he's dead, because originally his body was on the... They're big. Oh, come on, I usually know that everything like this is so annoying. Phalanx. Thank you very much. Well done, memory. Phalanx. Originally, it was his entire body on Phalanx. Now it's just his hand. They don't do that stuff for no reason. They'll bring them back eventually. I hope that helps. Right. Okay, Brother S. Hello, Brother S. As a number one lore master in the 40k universe, I'm glad you think so, but it's not true. I would love to know what you thought the Missing Legions were like, and if you had to homebrew one, so to speak, what would you come up with? Love your work. Would I do... My thoughts on the Missing Legions are based on some of the heavy research done by Remleys and others and myself. I believe the second was destroyed first. I believe the 11th probably fell during the Rangdan Xenocide. I think that the second had some kind of a dalliance, either with Chaos or some other forces, and decided he was too big for his boots and would take over. I honestly think he spat in the eye of the Emperor and was the first to turn. But again, I'd have to do some heavy research again to be solid in any of that. But again, there's so little there. A lot of it's just, wish casting. What would you come up with? I wouldn't want to say anything off the top of my head, because these things are lovingly made. You'd have to see what everybody else is and then not step on their toes, make it completely different. And that would take some time. But I do find it exciting, but all those things are only exciting because we don't know. As soon as you do know, as soon as there's a book about it, then it loses some of its shine to me. So I'm hoping they don't go into it too much. Even though recently they said the 11th is probably still alive underneath the Himalayas, I think that's ludicrous. And I'll explain that in a video one day, hopefully soon. Again, it's just an opinion. They know better than me. People just hang out with me and listen to my voice and dream together. Doesn't mean we're right. I never claim to be right. Right, now, I hope that answers your question, Brother S. Now, Night Drivers. No questions over age or identity. ASL PLS. ASL, I don't know what that means. Please. ASL. I can only think of naughty things, so I'm going to avoid that now. Okay, sorry, I had to do it. Everyone's going to have to bear in mind I don't know all the acronyms. Sorry about that. If it's a bad joke, most likely nobody remembered how annoying that question was. On a more serious kind of note, I have a question. If you were to fight in an army of the 40k world as a common soldier, which army would you choose and why? You may pick any faction, human or Xeno. Best regards. The only logical answer is either orcs or humans. Or Eldar. Orcs, because at least you'd enjoy yourself. No matter how brief your life may be, at least you'll be jolly. And Eldar, because of all the common soldiery, these are the ones who are most protected and never thrown away. So if you wanted to live, your highest chances would be to be in an Eldar army. Because your commander would care about every single last man or woman, or whatever. Orcs, because at least you die happy. So there we go. That's my answer on that. David Cortez, brother Cortez. What led you to open the channel? Said that already. What did you do before YouTube? Again, I don't like to reveal too much. Obviously, internet security, other such things. I'm not important, but some people fixate on things and they get angry that you're doing something and they can be quite unpleasant. So I do try to keep myself anonymous. So what did you do before YouTube? I had a 16-year career in a service for the local government, we'll say. And I saw things that I didn't want to see. And I did things with people to help them. And I gave it a go. So that's about all we need to know, really. I'm not interesting. Remember that. I'm not the story. The story is the story. I'm just the guy writing it, reading out, and other such things. I'm not interesting, okay? What armies do you have and had at one point? Wow. Let's go through the first armies. The first armies were Space Marines, Eldar. My brother played Orcs. I had an Imperial Guard army. This is Rogue Trader times up to second, whereas you used to be able to put underslung grenade launchers on every single one of your troops, and I would sit about 60 men at the back rank and then just move them forward, firing over grenades. It was hilarious. I had Scots. What else did I have? Space Marines, obviously. I called them Spaceballs. Eldar. They weren't Dark Eldar then. They barely mentioned Exodites. So now, second wave, because obviously I had a break for Wine Women's Song breeding and, being an adult of forms. So what did I play after that? Obviously, Blood Angels, Eldar, Dark Eldar, Harlequins, Tyranids, Necrons I've added. Obviously, I did have an army of Crimson Fists. I'm pretty much going to just dunk them and paint them all red just so I've got one army, make it simple. For Space Marines, etc. So that's what I'm playing at the moment. I do have an Imperial Guard army with those Azadi Death guys, and I've got a load of, squats and other things to put together. The problem is I just don't get enough time to play them and hobby myself much, which is a bit of a bugger. Sorry about that. Okay. What else have you had? I have had a Chaos army. I'm hoping to have one again soon. Crumbs. I do need to write from day to day from Mini Wargaming and get those figures. I haven't done that yet. Oh, cramps. I'll do that after this. Right. And of course, I've got some fantasy armies. Elves again. What a surprise. Now, how are you finding YouTube fame in the community? It's an odd one. I find it really strange. I watch Farax live streams every now and again. And I watch a lot. I watch a lot of other people's videos. Keep up with things. It's interesting. I'm a law snaffler, as we know. I just find it interesting. Also, it's kind of good to see what your contemporaries are doing. I don't follow them religiously, but I do generally know what's going on. Apart from the last, obviously, couple of weeks, a month, because things have been a bit strange at home because of things I've mentioned before and COVID. How do you find it? I find it sometimes strange when I turn up on a feed and people are like, oh my god, it's Boulderborn. I'm like, I'm just another guy, dudes. You know, I know I do good lore, but I mean, that doesn't make me a fantastic player or painter or anything else, you know. I'm just hanging out. So what I have to do is then sign on to an alternative account to talk or do anything else. Otherwise, what some YouTubers can do is feel that I'm just trying to advertise. I'm like, I'm not. I mean, you know, I've got a steady stream of people coming through the door. I think most people know who we are. We don't get as many hits as some of the better guys, and that's just the way things go. We're a niche, and I feel that niche. How are you finding YouTube fame? It is hard when you... it can be very, very gratifying, obviously, when people say, oh, he's the greatest, he's the best, and all the rest of it. I'm thinking, well, you know, I'm not, but I'm the best for you, and that's really gratifying. And then after that, you get the, you know, obviously, some people can be very, very uncharitable. The problem is, you know, they call you a paedophile or something. I was like, well, no, I'm just doing YouTube and you don't like it. I don't know why. If you don't like something, just turn it off. But there are some people who absolutely despise me for some reason. I think some of them are people I've banned from the channel for being aggressive, nasty, or condescending, or just horrible. So I was expecting some of that. But yeah, the problem is when someone tears you a new arsehole and they're right. And that can be hard. And then you look at everything you're doing, you're saying, well, I'm doing the best I can, and that's no excuse. But I'm not perfect, but people expect me to have, so like, you know, studio level sound, studio, you know, Black Library level writing, and then after that, I don't know, Death of Hope or Astarte style art. I'm like, I can't do that, guys. I can't do everything. I'm just an old dude. So it can be difficult reading blistering and accurate attacks, and yeah, so that can be strange. When people take note of your perspective more than anybody else's, I'm like, well, again, I'm just a fan. Your perspective is every bit as valid, probably more important than mine. I just reflect things. So, again, I see myself as utterly harmless, and a bit marmitey. Some people really like it, some people really hate it. One of those things. So it is strange when people treat you in a different way, and it is strange because I know most people who want to do YouTube want to be like, oh, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, and this is my excuse for looking at me. Whereas I'm like, look at the videos, look at the videos, look at the videos, don't look at me. So that can be strange. And obviously people commute too much importance on what you say. And that can be a bit strange, because sometimes I think I open my mouth and I hope it to be harmless, and people run away and take it off and use it as a weapon against others. I'm like, oh, please don't do that, dudes. So that can be a bit strange. But no, I'm not an egotist. I don't consider myself special in any way. What I do here makes me special for YouTube. But against any other human being, they have many, many, many things that they are much better than me in. I like to think of everyone as a Dungeons and Dragons or Marvel superheroes character sheet. We're all equal. What you have in strength, I do not have. What you have in endurance, I do not have. What you have in height and good looks, I do not have. I have other things where my statistics have been placed, and I have maximised my statistics to do my job the best I possibly can. And I hope other people take who they are and their strengths and play to those, because that's the best way to do things, I think. Favourite game outside of Warhammer stuff? Skyrim. Yeah, Skyrim, Total War. Even though that is Warhammer now as well, but Total War, Skyrim. Again, I'm useless at first-person shooters. I always have been, even from the first editions of Doom, etc. I have always run into walls and been shot in the ass and had my head turned into a canoe by people a third of my age. So, yeah, I'm a bit poo at first-person shooters. So, Skyrim I always loved because it allowed me to play what is ostensibly a first-person shooter and not get snuffed immediately. So I love it. Okay, I hope that helps. Jason Burt, in your video, Space Marines Chapter Founding was without any doubt masterful. Thank you very much. Did you get the inspiration for the captain becoming a dreadnought to Primaris from lore? Yes. Or was that creative control? It makes absolute sense to me. I've heard of it being debated on some live casts lately. Lastly, I've not come across anything if crossing the Rubicon Primaris corrects lost limbs. So do the Iron Hands have to go back and get limb clipped again? I don't know on that one. Okay, let's go by this. Yes, one of the major things about crossing the Rubicon Primaris was the fact that the dreadnoughts, it was stated in one of the codices that dreadnoughts could be Primaris. And I thought that was such an interesting and novel new way of looking at things that I wanted to include it. I wanted to show a buddy kind of situation. I wanted to show how the Space Marines, everyone concentrates on the slaughter and smashing, destroying and killing, and no one's the good guys. I just wanted to show how the Space Marines could be seen by the people they protect. Because again, there's lots of crusading armies who just run around and they're the kind of slaughter, Black Templar, smash everything and move on kind of guys. But a chapter which is protecting a zone, wow. I mean, everyone in that area is going to really want the Space Marines to arrive. They're going to know the burst battles, as I said in that video. They can't fight some of them. They need the Space Marines. They do the 99% of the fighting, but it's that 1% of the fighting where it's really desperately needed for them to be there. And I wanted to reflect that. Almost a world without Space Marines. And then, of course, their triumphant return to complete the story. Because I also wanted to show what the Indomitus Crusade was doing, giving hope, giving back, and reinforcing lines. So there's lots going on there. In some of my stories, I try to pick different elements and try to project them. So they're a bit more crafted than some might believe, because if you look at the actual story compared to the lore, they match. So I really have to write bespoke to each subject. So I hope that helps. The limbs thing, I don't see it replacing limbs, but if you're on the slab anyway, they might just do you while you're there. If you see what I mean. I hope that answers the question. But I don't have any law directly that I can quote to state yes or no on that one. Right, Brother Sean Brennan. Did you ever take any formal lessons in voice projecting or acting, or was it just through trial and error that you've developed such amazing narrative skills? Right, nope, never had a lesson in anything to do with voices. I've been saying for about 2 years that I really should. I do realise that I'm not perfect in a myriad of different ways, and lots of that's just experience. There's a huge difference between narrating what we do for Warhammer here to, say, narrating a book. My emphases are wrong, they're off. I can be too heavy on certain words. I'm just not experienced. Voice projection came from when I ran a live role-playing club. And some of the lads would be very excited and the battlefields could become quite expansive. So when doing things like shouting a time freeze, because, new demons were appearing or some wizard had teleported or something, I had to project very, very far and get people to obey. And my dad's a sergeant, was a sergeant, so I just did what he did, and it really worked out very, very well. He could shout from the bottom of the stairs, and 2 flights of stairs, two levels up, we'd all charge down the stairs immediately. So that kind of thing. And then when I shouted time freeze, then people from 100 yards would pretty much stop, and we'd all get on with it. So, and then after that, obviously my phone skills came from extensive phone work over the last 25 years. And eventually I moderated it so it became a bit more calming because of the last job I had, which was basically I had to get information from people who were exceptionally stressed out very, very quickly and get them feeling like they were being listened to. Really listened to, not just heard. and that I was taking note of everything they were saying, and I was going to try and help. So, have I had any training? No. This is all down to that, and of course, role playing endlessly until I started the channel. Really, up until COVID, I was still role playing, and just entertaining my friends. That's it. Okay, and so there we go. Sorry about that. Obviously, I keep saying I need no coffee. I really should pause and just go and get it. Now, Brother Taylor Blackwell, what's your favourite aspect warrior? And on top of that, your favourite Phoenix Lord? Fulgur Fugan is my favourite Phoenix Lord, because he's a badass. He's got a Mounty, need I say more? He's the youngest, and he's just cool. Whenever he takes wounds, he gets more eggy and angry, and can even do more attacks. I mean, he's got a power axe and a melter gun. I mean, what's not to like? What's your favourite aspect warrior? That's a really tough one. I like most of them. I love striking scorpions. I love howling banshees. I love most of them. I think probably my favourite is probably Dark Reapers. Just for the sheer look on someone else's face when you pull their army to pieces with them. It's hilarious. So, Chris Smith, can you show us one of your armies? I'm going to try soon, but please don't expect a huge amount of delicately painted and wonderfully, beautifully arranged warriors. I am a lore nerd, I am a player, I am a fixer and gluer, I am a bit pants with my hands. So will they all be painted beautifully? No, they won't. The good ones will be painted by the Mrs. B, and the bog standard group lines will be done by me. Again, I'm a gourmand, not a gourmet, when it comes to armies. Big, lots, yum, I play. And I am trying to get into painting. And I'm hoping this year to paint up at least a few armies. Now, if you got all of my painted models together and put them on a field, there'll be a huge army. But they're from different armies. So, and again, I'm a hobby butterfly. I go from one group to another group to another group to another group to another group. It's one of those things. So, will I show you my armies? Yes, but I wouldn't hold your breath. Sorry. Quantity, not quality. Right. Dreadnought 514. Ooh, hello, lad. Now, the content you create is a freeform style where you generate the stories from personal inspiration, or are those ideas pulled from other world events? What are your thoughts on the Primarchs being more active, actually being the driving forces in the story? Okay, part one. I gain my stories by wandering around in the garden. After I know what subject we're covering, I try to hone in on what is the quintessence, what is the base raw truth or perspective for that item, unit or faction, and I try to write a story around it. Do I generate stories? Are they all personal inspiration? Yes, I just walk around in the garden. Are they affected by present events? Of course they are, because I'm only human, and any one of us is, to a large extent, the collection of all that we have experienced, all that we have seen. So yes, to a certain, I mean, are they drawn from real world activities? Yes, some of them are. So I get my stories from wherever I can at the moment. And again, the real fear for me is being repetitive. I've done so many short snippets now that it's incredibly difficult not to be repetitive, and it's something I am desperately terrified of. And with everything else that's happened recently, it's kind of inhibited my ability to write, with the loss of my father and COVID and everything else like that, and what's going on in the world. It's really stilted my ability to come out with a good yarn, but I am hoping to get back on that horse very soon. That's why I've been doing some of the Horus Heresy stuff and other things, obviously contracts and the requests, and because if I didn't get asked by Horus Heresy Legions, I never would have started on that period at all, let's be honest. So it's kind of good to have that rocket. But yeah, where do you get the stories? I walk around in the garden until I find one. Sometimes it's hours, sometimes it's minutes, and I do my best, but obviously I can only do so much. What are your thoughts on the Primarchs being more active, actually being the driving forces in the story? Well, the door's open, the cults have to run, you've got one, you have to have the rest. Let's get it done. I think they should just get it done. Get them out there now. Morgan LF. Hooray! Our humble servant is here to answer some questions. Number 1. If you fell down a wormhole into the Warhammer universe, what lengths would you go to get back to boring old Earth? Would the decision be different if you landed in your body and wake up as a conscious Servo skull tasked with maintaining archives and producing educational programming? Well, I deeply love my children, my partner, and my life. So I would do anything to get back, because the Warhammer 40k, to be honest, if it were to ever happen, and it wasn't an alternate universe but the future, I'd just put a gun in my head and pull the trigger. It's horrible. Or do my absolute best to try to change the direction of humanity so that it doesn't happen, because there is nothing worse than the Warhammer 40k universe. Full stop. You don't want to be there. No one wants to be there. It's the kind of place, as I said, and I've said many, many times, it's fun because anything that happens in our world then looks like a bit of a joke compared. Right, number 2. If you had a show on Warhammer Plus, what would it be? Lore? I suppose they would get me to read out their Story Forge group work. I can't see me doing anything else. I certainly wouldn't be in front of the camera. I've got a face for radio. Now, number 3. What do you wish everyone in the world really understood about you? I'm no one. I'm not a hero. I'm not a star. I'm not anything else like that. I don't seek fame. I just want hits so I can pay. And also, pay my bills. Possibly have a tiny bit more comfort, not worry about things, and I am just another fan. No pedestals. Enjoy what I like. Put what I do on a pedestal. Never put me on a pedestal. Any one of you is far more important than I am. Whence cometh the bald? Hast thou always been follically changed, or is it a recent development, or reference to your bare skullness? I had the unfortunate problem of having a double crown, in other words, balding, at the age of 25. It was a bastard, because I used to have long locks, as a bit of a hippie, or whatever you want to call it, metalhead. I really loved having long hair and stuff. I felt all elfy, and now I look like a dry roasted peanut with all of the taste rubbed off. That's just a peanut. Yes, I look like a peanut, or a particularly happy egg with eyes. It's not great. But after a while you get used to it. So, I just shave my head and roll with it. Hence cometh the bald. There we go. Bald. Are you doing more things with the League of Lore? I miss hearing Valrak, Super Anchors and others pop into your videos sometimes. Well, last year was exceptionally heavy for the community, and I wasn't sure what would happen, who would be here, what was going on. I had in a massive snit stated that I would not be doing this for very long. I've calmed down a bit, obviously, and I intend to be doing this for quite some time. But again, as with everything, there will be an end eventually, when I just won't have anything else to say. I'm hoping it's not soon, but it will come when there is a period where I say, and that is the end of the guide. That is all there is for me to say. See, the problem with dealing with other YouTubers is they're all very busy, and they're not very good at communicating. And again, have I been doing things with League of Lore? No, because there can be problems, as in people don't always necessarily like to play with each other, or say you may not know that someone's done X or Y or whatever else. So I've tried to limit it a bit. But if you've not noticed, then obviously in Abundance Tertius, I am trying to get in other voices and other YouTubers. So leave it with me. But that's going to be Abundance Tertius. I'm sorry it's not every week or anything else like that, but I just can't do it. And obviously there has been a break while I've been doing Horus Heresy Legions and everything that's been happening at home. So I don't ever want to write something which I consider what I want to be my best work to come out quick or half-assed. So that's why there's a delay. But I'm intending to do, say, 2 of them back to back each time I do it. So there might be a wait of a month, but then you should get 2, one on one Friday, one on the next. But again, let me see how that goes. Anytime I make a promise, I get my ass kicked. And real life plays a bit of a joke on old Balders. So these are my dreams. These are not promises. Okay? Apart from the fact, yes, Abundance Tertius will be continuing. No, what's a Border Prince like to work with? He's great. He's a lovely guy. Will we agree on everything? Bloody no, of course not. But is he easy to work with? Absolutely. Again, we're both Brits. We both do what we do. And I would say he's probably better than I am at reading out and narrating. By a long chalk, he's got massive skills. He's really good. He's a great guy. Again, you don't have to agree with him on everything he says to still say that is a performer. I've got amazing respect for Border Prince because of everything he does, how he does it, and obviously he was one of the few people who gave me a break early on. Border Prince is my guy, if you will, and I'm his. If he ever asked me to do anything, yeah, you bet your ass I'd do it immediately. So Border Prince, yeah, I can't sing I can't say nicer things about him, really. Again, I don't talk about politics, so when he does, I don't engage. It's none of my business. You vote how you want to vote, etc. That's none of my business. So all of that aside, I think Border Prince is an amazing performer. It's very good to separate the person from the product. Like Michael Jackson, don't want to get into my arguments about him. No matter what he may or may not have done, I'll never know. Neither will you, really. He was a great singer. There we go. British accents make any pap sound cultured and regal? Yes or no? No. No. British accents are very, very varied. If I did a strong Cockney at you, which I do when drunk only, because that's where I come from, I am a Cockney, then you would not understand a word I bloody said. So, can they make any... if you're talking about BBC English, it can make things sound better than they are, because my writing is clearly sounds better than it is. I have to read this rubbish. But, yeah, one of those things. A lot of people despise British accents straight off the bat, for a myriad of reasons. Okay, now question number 9. What should the first 40k feature film be? I would go with Eisenhorn. Yeah, I would go with Eisenhorn. I think what they're doing is what they should be doing. And if not, they should get all of their money together and make the Horus Heresy. Done. What was your first Warhammer 40k miniature? Space Marines. What is the most recent miniature you bought? Well, on Saturday I went out and bought a load of the new Eldar. They're going to be arriving sometime this week, I'm told, and that would be lovely. So, yeah, there we go. What is the most recent miniature you bought? Eldar. And I will be doing box openings as indicated by the brethren here. And sisterhood, of course. Daniel Criswell. I can't speak for anyone else, but I'm not overly fussed about Patreon content. I came here to support your YouTube work, and anything else is a bonus. Thank you so much, brother. That said, my question, are there any retired units or lore that you wish would be brought up into the newest editions? Of course, I would love the Praetorians to be there, Perth hat wearing nutters, standing in small red lines. They would be nice. I would dearly love the Sensei to come back, for a myriad of reasons, but I would really, really, really like the Sensei to come back. But the Primarchs have pretty much filled that hole that they used to be in. So I think there's space for both. I don't think Games Workshop agrees with me. But that's what I would like to see, the Sensei come back. Because running around in Sensei armies with, I don't know, a unit from nearly all of them better aligned armies would be great. You know, a Space Marine fan, Imperial Guards, Scions, Sisters of Battle, and Space Marines all in one army. Wow, that would be cool. But there we go. All right then, I hope that helps. Now, White Fox 055. Hello, brother White Fox. Do you do voice acting as a profession? No. I'm still blown away and entertained by your Invid ads. I wish there were more YouTube ads like yours. Well, yeah, my opinion is I try to make the ads as non-egregious as possible, as least offensive. So when you know they're coming up, it's like, well, at least the old sod is trying to make it a laugh. Is my very quick. No, very quick laugh is best for me, because I have to admit I despise ads. I wish I could do this without ads at all, and I try to limit my ads inside a video to every 15 or 20 minutes, whereas other guys I know can do it 5, 10, etc. I'm not them. I despise putting adverts in at all. I just need to live and I need to eat, so I'm sorry for that. And people will say, just increase Patreon, but then after that I will be spending all of my time on Patreon, not on doing videos, and then eventually the patrons will start leaving because I'm not doing videos, and it's an endless circle down. So no solution is the right solution. The only solution is to keep working my butt off, which I'm going to do. Do you do voice acting as a profession? I said no, and I don't. My main profession is this, being Voldemort, writing this stuff, getting it done. Have I done pieces of voice acting? Yes, of course. I've done. I write and read out the intro for Distractable. I have done bits and bobs for, say, Hasbro and other such people, and they said, we'd like you to do this. It'll only take 10 minutes. Here's X amount of money. I go, woohoo, yay, money, which usually translates to plastic crack. Or a new carpet. I can't believe I bought a rug yesterday. Yeah, I actually bought a bloody rug. I never thought I would be a rug buyer, but we bought a rug. But it's all these little things, that, all these little adverts and little pieces of work here, there, and everywhere that I do that allows me to just make the environment a bit nicer for Mrs. B. And after she put up with me for so long, I think that's a fair thing to do. But I do try to limit them. Okay, which accent do you have? I have a feeling that my guess is very wrong. Well, I speak like this most of the time, when I'm being formal or I'm talking calmly. Obviously, you can see on the bat reps that I'm in, I'm a bit more effusive and a bit more squeaky, one might say, in normal life. And when I'm drunk, then my original accent comes out, which is thick Cockney. But it's because I've not lived up there for so long, it can be a bit of a parody of Cockney, or Cockney from, say, 40 years ago, which is a bit silly. And also my best friend is Cockney, and he moved down with me, and we've all lived where we live now. Again, he doesn't live in the same house, but in the same area. My mate STC, he's in some of the videos, etc. And when the two of us are drunk, which is rare, very rare these days, yet nobody can understand a bloody word we say, even if we were standing talking in between 10, 20 people. No one outside of Cockney land would understand a word we said, which is quite funny, actually. But my accent is South England. I had to make it more staunch and more, sorry, not staunch, that's not the right word, more formal, because of wanting to, again, most people in England can understand BBC English, so that's why I use it. Okay, BBC English, you know what I mean. Okay, is the Emperor dead and an Emperor Chaos God interacting with the Imperium? I don't believe the Emperor is dead, especially after the last books. I think he's hanging on by a thread, as he has been for the last 10,000, 11,000 years. Is he a Chaos God? Well, I think I said all I need to about that one. Do I believe it? Yes, he is. Last one, did you serve in the military? No, I've answered that one already. No, I did not. You have subtle insights that are spot on, like David Drake and his Hammer Slammers series. I don't know David Drake and his Hammer Slammer series. Again, there are members amongst Patreon, amongst friends groups, and amongst my family who have served. And if I think of certain things, then if it's a big video or it's an important point, or I don't want to be a liar, then I talk to military personnel and ask them their opinion. And a lot of them say, don't be a dick, and then it doesn't work like that, it works like this. So I try to research, I ask bloody experts, those who have been under fire, those who know what they're talking about, and then I try my best to project that. Now, most of the time I say, spot on, well done, lad, and then sometimes I'll say, you mindless slaphead, that's the opposite, and I'm like, try and fix it soon. So, yeah, I again, just effort. Okay, Pete Voss, or Voss, cutest Tyranid. Oh, it's got to be Hormigons. Stabby. Tyranids that would give best hugs, and why is it the Venomthrope? Well, of course it's the Venomthrope, because of all the squiggliness. And I do love my Venomthropes. I haven't used them I haven't used them in 9th. Ooh, bloody hell. I need to play Tyranid soon. Right, do you have any other voice acting experience? Nothing from before the channel, and even then, that it's just they asked me to replicate what I do on the channel. Do I need training? Yes. Do I need guidance? Yes. Do I need to improve? Yes, I am trying. Again, it may not seem to everyone else a huge amount of difference in the short term, but if you watch one of my earliest videos to my latest videos, apart from the last one with the Iron Warriors situation, it's not my fault. It is my fault, but when you're, again, editing your own work, it's, anyway, let's not go through that again. Iron Warriors, Iron Hands, bastard. Mental block, don't know why, read one when I see the other, but, do you have any other voice acting experience? Only through doing this. So, and bits that people have asked me to do recently. Do I intend to try and read books? Yes, I do. But I do need more training. Okay. I hope that helped Brother Voss. Brother Gray, what's your favourite moment with the hobby or memorable game you played? All right. I think it was 1991. Or 1990. Myself and 2 other Eldar players got together. And we fought against a Chaos army, played by 3 guys. And in those times, you could roll to see what the injury was. We set up our army and rolled so well, manoeuvred so well, and were so bloody accurate and good on our... in just everything. It was a perfect game. As in, I would never want it to happen again because of what happened, but it was the perfect game. As in, myself and my brethren Eldar had a perfect battle. One of our guardians took a shot to the right knee. That's it. We wiped Chaos out. But that's because Chaos players were very silly. Back then, what you could do is put all of your points into the demon and get all of these spare free army units, etc. And unfortunately, what they did was they brought on this absolutely disgusting demon, expecting it to wipe us out, with all this chod or whatever they call it these days, peons and maggots around the side. And using our Eldar firepower, we removed the demon on round 1 and then just blew his troops off the board because most of them were close combat and they were charging towards us. It got to the stage in the afternoon where they were talking about bringing on their 3rd wave when they only had 2 figures left on the board, and the Eldar players, myself leading, said, "Guys, it's over. Come on. And finally they said, yes, it's over, and we rolled for that 1 wound. And again, I would never want to see that again. Ever. But that was my most memorable game. I did love it. Now, Kit Foxboy, I have a few if you don't mind. Your voice is amazing. Have you ever done or intended to do professional voice acting? Again, if it wouldn't interrupt what I'm doing now, I am looking into possibly doing some. But again, they can be, if you're not a professional voice actor, they can expect a lot of time and effort and other such things. And yes, I always want to do a good job, but I don't know. I did talk to Mrs. B about putting up a $5 and getting some voice work done. And she just said, too many eggs in the air. You're going to destroy the carpet. And she's right. She's usually right. So, always right? No one's always right, but she's usually right and gives me excellent advice, and she is part of the team, so she said, not at the moment. If the channel dies, then, which can happen at any time, and that's the problem that people don't realise. At any time, a channel can be blocked, barred, or just die, because someone else is better. All it takes is for, say, I don't know, one of the guys there to get a little bit more hits, to meet someone down the pub or online, and they do the animation for them, and all of a sudden, everything I'm doing is old hat. So will I look into do professional voice acting in the future? If I can. But again, I have no experience. So, yeah. How do you feel about the classic Marine vs Primaris debate, conceptually or aesthetically? Now, I don't mind them. I like both. Obviously, as an old hand, I was furious when they first arrived because I thought that they would replace the Firstborn. I still, in the back of my head, don't trust Games Workshop. I still think they're going to replace the Firstborn with just the Primaris, and I think that would be a shame. Having both for me is absolutely optimal. And I think that there's no reason to close down one to just put the new ones in. I understand all the debate points on either side. Conceptually and aesthetically, I like the new Space Marine Primaris. Obviously, they have a lot less bling. So if you want bling, then you go old style and you go old school. And I think they're great. I like both. I don't want them to take away one or the other. I want them to have both. Belisarius, cool. I don't really want to get into it at the moment because he can enrage me. I'm not perfect. So no, how it was done, maybe not. They're there. I enjoy. What's your favourite overall faction, Eldar? Would you ever consider running a community campaign where you write narratives based on the outcomes? Well, of course, I'd love to, but I'd need to clone myself twice to do that. Because people don't realise the level of time that would take. It's only a couple of hours. It's not. That would be a lot of hours. I mean, a lot. So I just don't have the time. It's not the case I don't want to. It's just not there. What's the wackiest thing you have ever seen done on the tabletop? I mean, the amount of Benny Hill situations where I'm running around or after or away from someone has been quite funny. But I would say probably running over a Tyranid, say, Genestealer cult's first time round, not second time round, not the new ones, but one of the original Primarch. The great big things. I can't remember. Bear with me. Oh God, this is so embarrassing. I want to say Primarchs, Primogenitors. I don't know. One of the huge Genestealer cults. Patriarch, that's it, Patriarch, thank you. Patriarchs, I ran it over with a quad bike, one of the bikes with a gun on the side, and killed it, because you could do that kind of thing in edition, first or second edition, and yeah, we just drove over the Patriarch. It was funny as, but again, probably doesn't sound as funny now. But yeah, it was. Yeah, a biker killing the Patriarch was one of my most favourite parts. So it was good fun. Okay, thanks for this and all the captivating content you make. Don't run yourself into the ground though. Try not to, boss. Try not to. Thank you very much. Right, brother Enrique F. Hi there. First of all, thank you for all the excellent content. Thank you very much, brother. Got hooked from the moment I first stumbled on it. Now, what's your take on the integration of Primaris into the Marines rank? As in, as smooth as it looks, or maybe not so. An idea for a story and why, of course. Realistically, there's not that many differences between them. Again, after the Indomitus Crusade and after all of these Primaris have been slotted in, where most of the chapters now, if not all of the chapters, have the ability to actually make their own Primaris, so they're just bigger. At the very end of the day, these are just bigger Space Marines. If they're raised in the same mythos, with the same gene seed, the same style, and the same training, and the same trials, then they are just bigger Space Marines than the Marines that they usually were. Is that a good thing? I don't know. What is the point of the original Space Marines then in that point? That's something they need to look at. Is it going to be smooth? No, of course it isn't. Because the original firstborn are always going to overcompensate around the Primaris, and the Primaris are always going to overcompensate around the firstborn because of that. So there's going to be an excessive level of competition between them, and as we know with Space Marines, that can get very bloody. So is it going to be easy? I wouldn't have thought so. Right, who would win? The Snek with the power of an elephant, or 64 ducks, each with the power of one duck? Well, that depends. If you put the ducks into some kind of hybrid PCP situation, whereas they were injected and they were massively aggressive, I don't know. But usually, I mean, obviously, the Snake with the power of an elephant would just be too much for the ducks. It would be like getting Snots to attack a big boss. The duck would win. The elephant, the Snake, with the power of 64 ducks, with the power of an elephant would defeat the 64 ducks, because the ducks, as soon as one's dead, the rest would run away. But mad ducks, I don't know. I would find it difficult for the ducks to get through the skin of the Snake. or snack, as you say. All right. I think that does as much as we need to do on that one, Brother Yarizui. In your opinion, what's the best piece of Trays in the Infinites collection? I'm going to go with the Krork. Because that's the only Krork in the universe. There are other things, obviously. There's the probably a Primarch, probably, and obviously there's definitely a Fulgrim Crone in there. So, but I would think that the Krork is the rarest and the best piece of Trays in the Infinites collection, because there aren't any. What army do you play most and why? Can we see it? Can we see it possibly? What army do I play most? At the most I play Space Marines. I play Blood Angels at the moment, but I haven't played in about 2 months. I'm hoping to get back into Eldar. There we go. But yeah, I've been playing Blood Angels most because it's point and click for me. It's easy, so I don't have to worry about the perfect, delicate combination of thrust and counter thrust, of overlapping fire and withdrawing. Ha ha ha! No, chainsaw goes zzz, and jetpack goes vroom, and death to the Force, death to the Force Emperor. That was wrong. Death to the traitors. Back rage all the way. Yummy, yummy. What's your favourite sport to watch or play? Ooh, crumbs. I'm not particularly sporty. I should have been. I wasn't, for a myriad of reasons. Favourite sport to watch? Rugby. Again, I don't play rugby. I've not got the build for it, or the breath for it. But rugby, I would definitely watch. If someone said, okay, all of the sports, I'd say, okay, put on some rugby. And football, obviously, I'm an Englishman, I like football. I don't watch or follow our team, etc. Again, because I've never been particularly sporty. But when all comes away, do I turn on the TV to watch sport? No. But if the footy's on and it's one of the teams I like and it's going well, I would probably sit down and only get up at the end of the game and go, oh, I really enjoyed that. I should do that more often. But again, there's only so much time in the universe, I'm afraid, for a bald, and I don't have time for that. I hope that helps. But yeah, if I were to get into any proper sport, it will probably be Ruggers, because it's a corking good game. I even enjoyed watching some American football at one period. I was a big Dallas Cowboys fan when they were crap. They didn't have any special team, no forward offensive team, no defensive line really. They were pants. But I enjoyed watching them lose. I don't know why. But as soon as they got popular and got a better quarterback and started getting somewhere, I turned off. I think that was more to do with leaving university and such things. But yeah, they sucked. But American football is a great game. There are so many great games. There are so many great sports out there. I think any one of them you could lose yourself in if you wanted to. What was the first model you made and painted? Do you still have it and still in the original format? No, I do not have the original. I think the first model I ever made is not the first model I ever painted. I painted an old, metal figure, because we were playing Dungeons & Dragons, but it was very intimidating because my older brothers, no, they weren't much older than me, but they were a bit older than me, and they were doing things like getting into the runners-up of the Golden Demon Awards. So, I couldn't compete, so I didn't. But first model you made was, I'm going to have to say a Space Marine, because a lot of the... I wouldn't say that making some of the fantasy figures was actually making them, because you were just gluing on 2 arms, that was it. And you can say that with the Space Marine stuff from the original box wasn't much more than that, but it was a little bit more. Again, they were bloody awful to put together sometimes because they just wouldn't fit. But it was what it was, and they looked great in rank and file. How much time do you spend tailoring content to appease the dark gods of YouTube algorithms? From Brother Alexei. I try not to. I honestly try not to. Now, obviously, we've seen recently that, Kabanda or something else has come out. I've chucked out a video. I do that. Yeah, I do it every now and again. But it's more of a case of, cool, that's a good idea. Go, oh, we haven't done a video on him. Come on, let's do it. You know, I don't sit there like some YouTubers. Again, no attack on them. That's what they do. They're news channels. You know, Valrak and Kiriath, etc. You know, something comes up on the channel, the community tab for Warhammer, and all of a sudden, you know, within 2 seconds, welcome back to another video. Now, I don't do that. But do I do certain things? Yes. Unfortunately, the crying shame is that people refuse to watch my Eldar videos. So even though I want to run a huge Eldar campaign with lots of nuances and lots of background, etc., people won't watch it. And there's a morale issue here. It's not just about greed or money. It's about hurting your channel and other such things. I don't necessarily want to be the biggest, but it does affect your morale when you work your arse off for a video and it's 10th out of 10. 2,000 hits when everybody else is getting 6,000, 8,000, 20,000. And let's be honest, I'm very Marmite, which basically means loved or hated. Now, a lot of my videos just don't do that well compared to the amount of subscribers we have. So I, every now and again, do have to turn around and make a video which I hope will do well to try and get things up again. Because, you know, we're taking on Gremlin Girl and Mrs. B helps out a bit more now, so I've got to make some money. So yeah, it can be disappointing, but do I chase the YouTube algorithms? I try not to. Okay, and that's probably why I'm not twice the size that we are, because otherwise, realistically, what I should do is just put out a 2-hour video every 2 or 3 weeks. That would be optimal for the YouTube, and that would get me much bigger, much faster, and obviously give me another part of life as well. But for 6 to 8 months while that was building up, etc., I still wouldn't have enough money, so the needs one must when the devil dries. Now, from brother Jason Duncan, what are your goals? Rather a broad question, old chap. What are my goals in YouTube? To start a couple of other channels and not to detract from this one, just to give me something different to do. And 1 or 2 of them might be more broadly appealing. So then after that, we get the kind of money in that I would not have to work quite so hard, but more importantly, I'd be able to put on more of a show, more of a spectacle, and be able to get more assistance and to get things done. Will they work? I don't know. I hope so, but I don't know. So what are your goals? To live nicely, not incredibly well. I certainly don't want to be scoffing beluga or caviar, but I would like to be a little bit more comfortable and look after my kids, and then hopefully eventually when the grandkids on my side come out, help them, and obviously help the grandkids on Mrs. B's side. So but what I really want to do is I want to tell stories, and I want to enjoy it, and I want you to enjoy it. I want you to relax, and no matter what I'm covering, I want someone to say, well, it may not be the kind of thing I want to watch, but it's going to be good. That's all. I just want it to be good. Not great, not brilliant, not the best ever. Obviously I'd love those things, but I can't do it, so I don't have the breadth of perspective or skill. But I would like to start some other channels and to be secure and work on each of those channels out of love, not out of necessity. Yeah? Okay, Jason Duncan again. Hello, brother Duncan. Do you have a project or Kickstarter you would like to talk about? Not at the moment. Again, a lot of people really attempt to monetize their fan group, as they call it. I don't. Again, people have said, why don't you do live streaming? Well, I'm not particularly keen on just sitting there without anything to say and just saying, oh, hello, I'm talking to you, can you give me money? And that's not the right way of looking at it, but it's something I can't get away from. So I like to give as good as I get, and seeing as I get quite good from you guys, I like to give quite good. So there we go. But Mrs. B has challenged me to write a book in this next year, and I've got to admit I'm absolutely bagging it, because I read other people's books and I go, oh god, I may sound good, but it doesn't read well. So it's going to be another skill I'm going to have to learn. So what is my project this year? Well, keep this channel going, hopefully improve it, get some other channels going, hopefully improve them, and write a bloody book. Now, I've had multiple ideas running around my head for about 30 years. One of them for about 20 years is the one I'm going to concentrate on. And as soon as I've got anything, I'll let you know. Okay, Jason Duncan. Again, it may never happen, but just curious. Is it something giant like Is it something like giant, like taking train across Europe and narrating experiences, or writing your own book, or something else entirely? Should have read the entire thing. Would I consider taking a train trip across Europe and narrating it? No, because I'm as dull as dishwater. Writing your own book, that's the idea. But let me see how it goes. If it doesn't get anywhere, it doesn't get anywhere. Right. Brother Torvik, if you had to decide, if you had to dedicate your life and cause to one of the Chaos Gods, which one would you choose and why? What makes you pick that specific one over the others? P.S. You'd become a full and favoured chosen of said god with all the perks that comes with it, meaning you wouldn't just be a lowly mortal slave, but a fully elevated champion. Poor. Tzeentch or Slaanesh? Difficult to toss up which would be, because obviously one of them is pleasure, and as sick and twisted as they are, at least you'd be having a good time, and the other one is obviously magic and the ability to alter reality, to understand the waft and wave of the universe, and so Tzeentch, which I don't know. I honestly do not know. Obviously, when I'm tired, I just want a cigarette. It's Slaanesh. But when I'm thinking, what would I actually really like to do, is probably Tzeentch. Not Khan and his Khorne. Khorne, whatever. Especially not Khorne, because obviously I'm not a butcher, and I don't like the horror of Nurgle. So, as avuncular, jolly as he may be, he's just a horror. So no, not him. So yes, I hope that answers the question. Now, Brother William Asher, what got you into telling Warhammer stories? Do you do any other storytelling bardic activities? Telling Warhammer stories pretty much goes with the answer for why you started the channel. Obviously, being able to tell stories for a living is a dream come true. And do you do any other storytelling bardic activities? No, not yet. Sorry about that. Jordan Brock, Brother Brock, do you have any thoughts on the evolution of 40k tone? Early lore was dark, sure, but also silly. Looking at you, Inquisitor Obi-Wan, Sherlock Clouseau, not to mention the half-naked Custodes. Yeah, it was funny. I asked because over the years the setting has really doubled down on the grim part of Grimdark. In an Ars Technica interview with Dan Abnett, Dan says that he doesn't want Hope to enter the 40k universe. He wants it limited to lower-case Hope. Okay, yeah, I understand that. I'm old school. I like all the grimdark and all the rest of it, but I do like a good laugh too. I think it takes itself too seriously, and it's become almost a parody of itself. Is it grimdark enough? No, it's not grimdark. And then you hear people saying, it's not grimdark, that's not grimdark, it's not grimdark. And it's like, oh, fuck off. It's a good story, okay? It's supposed to be grim, it's supposed to be dark, blah, blah, blah. But realistically, it's a story about heroes as well. It's a story about conflict, blah, blah, blah. Dan Abnett is a wonderful writer, obviously fantastic visionary. He doesn't want Hope to enter the 40k universe. Well, from my perspective, without Hope, all of the races would just fall over. They wouldn't fight. Well, they'd fight for life. No, but you fight for the hope of a better life. If your life is completely and totally crap, you put a gun into your face and you pull the trigger. So, and also, Graham McNeil and others have said, well, the point of the entire thing is hope. So, every different writer comes to the universe bringing something else. Say, Abnett brings something, and everybody else brings something else, which is why I always get annoyed with that. It's in a book, so therefore it's canon. Yes, and the books canonical books contradict each other on a regular basis. It's a great big blancmange we all sit and basically jump into and play around in. It's a swimming pool. Warhammer 40k, it's not a 4-course banquet. It's a swimming pool. We all dive in. Some people pee in the pool or fart in the pool. And some people put in, sprinkles of other things. But realistically, it's a great big sandbox that we all play in. And any one of the writers, as wonderful as they are, as fantastic as they are, as brilliant as they are just writing fan fiction of 2000 AD and Isaac Asimov, Dune, and all of the rest, in my opinion. They're doing great, they're wonderful, but none of the people who are presently writing for Warhammer own it. They didn't create it. They are not it. So Dan Abnett can say what he likes, and that's good for him. Macmillan can say completely different things, and they're good for him. And I can say something that's good for me. As long as you have a slice of Warhammer, a section of the pool where you can fart and pee and jump around in, then, which obviously no one should do in any public pool, but you know what I mean, then enjoy. That's what I say. So I don't tend to try to get too locked up in what is canon, what is not, blah, 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 and the facetious statements of others, everything's canon. It's not. They retcon regularly. No, they don't. Yeah, they really do. So it's one of those things. But again, that's just a difference in perspective. Who cares? At the end of the day, we're all enjoying it. It's our collective dream area, our swimming pool. Let's all jump into it. Some people will bomb, some people will daintily get in with a fingertip or a foot or toe, etc. It's whatever. The pool is a pool. Let people play in it. And just because you're playing volleyball in the water one area doesn't mean that someone just bobbing up and down in the water somewhere else isn't equally having fun and equally valid. Let's not worry about who's right. Let's just all have fun. That's what I say. I hope that helps. John Russell. Who is Brother Russell? Who is your favourite 40k character and why is it Rogel Dawn? Still my favourite series of your videos, really had me in the feels. Who is your favourite character in fiction? Any kind of fiction. Right. Who's your favourite 40k character? Changes every day, I'm afraid. I'm really sorry about that. It's not that I'm weak or anything else. It's just I read more, I see more, I hear more, I think more, and it changes on a regular basis. Rogel I did because I said I need to do a Primarch, and the story of Rogel didn't just come into my mind. It was like a lightning bolt. That moment, the longest second, came into my mind. And I said, I've got my angle on Rogel. And then we wrote it. And then we did it. Yeah. And God, this sounds awful on that one now. I can't listen to it. But yeah. That's lightning sometimes happens. And I get a vision of something. And then I run with it. Who is your favourite character in fiction? Oh, that's tough. There's a stainless steel rat. He's slippery. Jim DeGriz. He's brilliant. Flashman. A deeply bad non-PC set of books about a real bastard. But it's funny. It's basically the Caiaphas Cain was based on Flashman. But again, it's not for the faint-hearted. Anybody who's like, oh, I'm triggered, then you can't read this. Because it's about a horrible period and horrible people doing horrible things. And he's an unspeakable cad and bounder. So, but yes, probably Flashman, only out of the horror of the horrible man. But it's just hilarious stuff. So, favourite character, to love, to hate, will be Flashman. Dartorian. Are you playing an hour-long special on all the Space Marine Legions? If so, do you plan to do a story for the Alpha Legion like the Wolves and Fists? Well, the problem I've got is that obviously things have developed. As the channel has developed, as my confidence has developed, as my style has developed. And I know everybody wants 3 hours on this or 3 hours on that. And sometimes it's just not worth going over again. Yes, would I have preferred to do all of them in a better style? Of course. But I'm learning as I go. So will I go back to some of them eventually? Yes, I will. But will I be doing it soon? No, I won't. Because I've got so many others I've not even touched. Look at AdMech. I mean, Jesus. Oh, Holy Throne. I haven't done much with AdMech at all. So there are so many things I need to do before I start going back and redoing, if you will. But would I have preferred to have been the completed person and completed YouTuber and all the rest of it from the first video? Of course I would. But I didn't know what I was doing. So you have to bear with me. It's not a case of I like them better so they get a longer video. That's not how it is at all. So please don't worry. I'm trying not to be favouritist in any way. Okay? Do you have any good Warhammer dad jokes? Yes, but none of them are polite. And some of them are very visceral. So I will try to write down some of the less visceral ones and read them out one day. But like any Englishman, I have a very, very black gallows humour, which could be seen as very smutty. And it's not appropriate in this modern era at all. So what we all say in good graces and now just a bit of silliness these days would, I don't know, someone might say, oh, that's really inappropriate, blah, 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 blah. It's not racism or anything, it's just really vicious. So there is a level of English humour, which is gallows humour, which is deeply dark, and not many people like that. So some people do, some people don't, most people don't. So I tend not to try to be too comedic unless it's the dry British humour of, say, Cronan, etc. Because if we get too, as I say, well, if you ever want to see my darker side of comedy, then obviously the few things I did with Major Killer, where you go. I could let my non-existent hair down a little bit, realising that, if they can put up with him, I could say anything. So I relaxed a little bit and became a bit more mean-spirited, one might say, but it's just banter. And my banter from working in some stressful jobs is quite raw knuckle stuff, so it's not really for mass consumption. Again, nothing nasty. We all know I'm about as dangerous as a Care Bear. I generally want everyone to get on. Yes, I can get angry like anybody else, but I generally want the best for everyone on the planet. So one of those things. Okay. Brother Rory Terrell, hello Brother Terrell, are you going to be doing more voice work as the Templar Tech Marine than I heard recently? Very good beginning or to something there. Well, I do voice work for any of the animators that ask, because they've spent months on working on it. And if my paltry skills can improve that, and help them out when they've invested so much time, I think it would be ludicrous for me to not do so. So yeah, if anybody asks me to do anything when it comes to animations, I do it. Now obviously what usually happens is at least one patron will then say, well, could you read out this book? And I'm like, well, no, I don't have 100 hours to do it, because if it's 10 hours, that's 20 hours of reading out because of errors and all such things, and then after that's 40 to 50 hours of editing. So it's not, I know Border Prince and stuff can open up a book and read out and get it 99% correct straight off the bat. I'm not as skilled as he is, because I'm writing my own stuff too. See, because I'm writing and recording and editing and putting together and doing all the research and everything else like that, I am jack of all trades, master of none. So I will never be as good as someone who is specifically good at one thing, or as I said before, someone who puts out one video a month. Of course their video is going to be infinitely better than anything I will ever put out, because they've had a month to do it. I don't get that amount of time. Maybe one day, but not now. Okay, so I am understand that I am just where I am, and I'm happy where I am, and I'm going to try and improve, but I cannot match up against people who are experts in their field and can concentrate on it, like Toby Maguire and whoever else. I will never be able to beat Keeble or anybody else at voice acting, because that's all they do. That's all they do. They don't write, they don't create videos, they don't interact with people, they don't mention anything, they don't do this, they don't do that. They just do the one thing, so they're always going to beat me. So that's the way it is. Sorry about that. Right, Brother Broly Martinez, or Broly Martinez. I'm very sorry, I don't really understand the name, Broly. Sorry about that. Not understand it, I don't know how it's pronounced, I've never heard it, sorry. Would you rather fight a Necron or a Tyranid? Oh, crumbs. I mean, a Tyranid is easier to kill than a Necron. But they are very sharp and gnashy, and they move very quickly. But there again, on the other hand, so do some of the Necrons. I'd rather fight a Necron than a Tyranid. Yeah, I'd rather fight a Necron than a Tyranid. Yeah, because they're the creature of the darkness and the night. They jump out at you and kill you. At least with a Necron, you'd see it coming. Well, maybe. And Brother Stroud, Michael Stroud, what got you into Warhammer 40k? I just transitioned straight from fantasy into the new hotness that was there. 40k, simple as that. Brother Taco Von Pesky, which of the story arcs so far did you really like narrating the most, and why? It's a toss-up between Kronan and Sadeas and Tarquinius. Sadeas and Tarquinius because I love them. I think they're great. I'm looking forward to doing much more with them soon, and I really like Sadeas. Wandering round the house being Sadeas is one of the most annoying things I can do for Mrs. B, you see. And she'll often say, "Can you stop being the Inquisitor?" And I'll go, "Oh, do I have to?" All right then. But obviously, the story arc of Kronan is just pure relaxation for me. It's again, it's probably not as hawky as it could be, but again, I like to think that this is his rise later on when he does what he's going to do. Then people will be laughing a lot less. But one of those things. So at the moment, it's the story arc is probably my most favourite is Kronan. The actual narrating would be Sadeas and Tarquinius. Sadeas and Boy. I really enjoyed them. Okay, and we're at the end. It feels like I've been going on for ages, and yeah, that's 2 hours of Q&A. Well, thank you very much for your patience for all of those who did manage to get to the end of this colossal waffle. But, you know, you did ask. Okay, and, well, that's our Monday video, and I very much hope to see you all very soon. And as always, no matter what you do today, do try to really do try to make some time for fun. God damn, we all deserve it, I think. Take care, guys.